If you want to go grimdark, you got to go dark. So that's what the Army Painter did. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek video. I'm Phil, the Glacial Geek, and today I have a kind of special video here. I am coming to you with the brand new Masterclass series, John Blanche Masterclass series from the Army Painter. They have two new paint sets that they have coming out here. A total of 20 colors, 19 completely new ones, and one that's just returning to the range from previous. I wanted to go through and show you what you get inside the box and show you what the paints do and what they look like and everything that they have from there. So why don't we just get right into it and talk about this. So there are two paint sets. You've got the Volume 1 of the John Blanche Masterclass series. That comes with The Darkness, Ivory White, Moonbeam Yellow, Ironclad Gray, Blighted Green, Banshee Brown, Blood Moon Red, Warm Skin Shade, Grimdark Shadow, and Emperor Gold. So that set does have the one that's returning. The Warm Skin Shade is the flesh shade from the old line of washes and shades that the Army Painter had, and is now being brought into the fold here with the Fanatic Line, along with this set here that you have here. Blood Moon Red is a speed paint. You've also got Grimdark Shadow, which is a brand new wash. And you've got a bunch of the colors there that I think are very interesting and ones that I've kind of wanted. And you'll see this along when I'm talking about a lot of this, all the paints here. A lot of these fill niches that I feel were missing in the Fanatic line, which is incredible, which is great. I think the fact that they had this opportunity to work with John Blanche to create this product, and fill the gaps in the line of paints that they offer is exactly kind of what you want from something like this, from a paint set. So, for instance, the Ironclad Gray is a dark gray, so it fits within the color, the flexible triads that they had there, and it's something between black and their previously darkest gray there, and it's something that has been needed from the line for a while. It's one of the things that I mentioned that I really wish that the line had, and now they do. So I feel like Ironclad Gray is going to get a lot of work for me. I'm also a big fan of that Moonbeam Yellow. It's just it's like bright, vibrant yellow, which is a lot of fun to work with there. And again, a lot of these colors fit into the different flexible triads from the Fanatic line already. They just give another color within them, and a lot of them are the darkest now in that line, which makes sense since this is basically a grimdark line of paints here from the Godfather of Grimdark himself. So I think it's pretty interesting to see there, and the colors that they've done with the metallics that they have. There's a metallic in each set. There's speed paint in each set, and then there's 2 washes in this set. There's 1 wash and an effect paint in this Volume 2. But just having that whole line there, and they fill in a lot of gaps, like I said, in their line, which is great. If you're going to come out with new paints, you don't want it to retread old territory. You want it to kind of do something else for you there. But going back to the metallics here, the Emperor Gold that they have here is like a much needed darker gold, but not as dark as Death Metal from the Fanatic line there. So it kind of fits that line between Death Metal and the Greedy Gold. Something sort of like the Gunmetal when you have in the silver aspect of the metallics in that range there. And then the Heavy Metal that they came out with, that's in the Volume 2, that is sort of like a Death Metal for the silvers. So it's like a very dark, really deep silver color there, which I think is great. So it's sort of like they used the 2 metallics to kind of fill in their line range there. So the golds really had a really dark gold with the Death Metal, but the silvers didn't. So they put the Heavy Metal, and then they had a middle ground, like a darker but not quite super dark silver color with the Gunmetal, and now they have that now with the gold, which is great. So the whole line is getting filled out, like I said. The Volume 2 comes with one of the colors that I'm the most excited about, which is the Fiery Vermilion. It doesn't fit into any of the triads, but it's this like deep, rich, like fiery vermilion red. So it's a color that I've wanted in the line of Fanatics. I really like the orangey red colors, the color that is, and it fits like a personal, scratches a personal itch of my own. So I'm very happy to see that in there. Like I said, some of these do fit into the flexible triad. Some of them are completely new colors. A lot of them are working along the Zorn palette, which is kind of like the John Blanche was an expert in using that in his illustrations and in his designs and stuff like that. So kind of playing off of a lot of those colors that they have there. But anyway, back to the Volume 2 here. So we have Fiery Vermilion, which I'm very excited about. We have the Blanched Berry, which is like a deep purpley kind of red color there. You've got the Sunburst Ochre, Midnight Olive, Tainted Garden, Ruddy Terra, which is a brand new color, and Turnbull Turquoise, which is their speed paint from the Volume 2, which is a really nice like deep, dark, broody kind of looking blue speed paint that works really well. Very happy with that one. You have Voodoo Shade, which is a browner shade, where the Grimdark Shadow is more along the lines of Dark Shade, and then Dark Tone, and then the Voodoo Shade is along the lines of the Strong Tone. So it's like the brownish one. So, but they're like they kind of fit a mix there. It's not the Grimdark Shadow is not quite as dark as the Dark Tone. And the Voodoo Shade is not quite as dark as the Strong Tone. So it's a nice middle ground there to add a little bit more flexibility if you're if you're using the paint line that they've got there. You have a Grim Rust in this line, which is a great addition to their line of rust effect paints that they have here. Honestly, it's a brighter one than they have previously. So you've got like the dark rust, you've got the fresh rust, and now you have the grim rust, and that's the kind of the way they go. And I think they would all work very well together to give you a much more realistic and dynamic looking rust shades across your models that you're working with there. And then the heavy metal that I've already talked about. Honestly, I really enjoy these, and take that with whatever grain of salt you want to as a member of the factory team, but that's my honest opinion with these paints, and I'd be very happy to see these added to the line even if I wasn't part of the factory team. And I think that these paints, the beauty of them is that they all fill niches that were kind of needed. So it goes more towards the darker end of the spectrum along their line that I don't think the Fanatic really truly got into. I think that they skewed a bit more to the brighter side. And if you're doing stuff like Grimdark painting, if you're doing things in the Grimdark Future, the 41st millennium, having these darker shades, I think is super beneficial, especially for people who don't like to mix their paints like me. I don't like to mix my paints because I can't get it the exact same again, and I'm usually doing squads, if not armies, and I want it to be matching. So I'd rather just pick a paint up off my shelf and use that versus try to mix it over and over and over again for an entire 2,000 point army that I keep adding to over the years. I'd rather just be able to pick up the paint and use it. So these add a nice darker base tone that you could use to start out in a deeper point. So for instance, if you really want your Dark Angels to be very dark, you can go with the Blighted Green there as a base, and that's in the same triad as the Angel Green, so the kind of like the Dark Angel-y green there. And like I said, it skews a lot of the now the triads now have like an even darker tone to go with, that you can start as a base for your painting, or to really work in the shadows for your models, as well as bringing in some really interesting new ones like the Moonbeam Yellow, the Fiery Vermilion, and the Ivory White, that all just work with the Zorn Palette to the Zorn Palette colors, which is very very grim dark in and of itself, to have you there. So. Like I said, I'm super excited about these. Of course, I had to show them off on some, it's coming from a classic, a pretty classic entrepreneur of the, or no, classic innovator of the Grimdark style. So I thought I would use some pretty classic models along the lines of Warhammer 40k there with these grots. And it just kind of goes to show you the colors there. All of these were painted with about two coats. The Fiery Vermilion went on with one. I didn't really need to do a second one on that one. But a lot of them are just 2 coats there. As you can see, the metallics were done over a white base coat, and that's what you get with those. And it did a nice coverage with 2 coats. The rust effect obviously is just a rust effect, so it's not meant to give you a full coat. It's supposed to be used to give you the effect of rust when you're putting it in there. It does still have like a bit of the grit, like a lot of the other ones there, and it just adds to that whole series there that you can work with it. The speed paints are speed paints, and they do a really good job, as you can see. And those washes I showed you over just a white prime there, so you can see the color that you're going to get, and then you can use them to shade down your models when you're working with them for an army painting there. So that's what you get inside the box there. So I think that they are they're going to be awesome. Honestly, I think you'll be very happy with them, especially if this is something that you're looking for, and if you're if you're using the different, if any of these colors fit into one of the triads that you use a lot. This giving that expanded work there with those triads is great, honestly, in my opinion, because it really just adds a little bit of oomph and gives you an extra little lane to work in. So they're still along the same tones of those triads, so you know that they'll work together on the progression upwards. But they just skew a little bit darker so that you've got that to work from, a little darker base to go from there. So very happy with them. I think these sets are really kind of cool, and they should be going up on pre-order relatively. I don't know it offhand, so I'm just going to put it right here. But yeah, so let me know down below what colors you're most excited about. Whether you're more excited for the volume 1 or volume 2. Both of them, in my opinion, are great. I'm really a big fan of the Fiery Vermilion. That's something I've been wanting for a while, as well as the Ironclad gray. That's kind of a dark gray that I really wanted as well for a long time. So really happy with all of those. Let me know down below which ones you're most excited for, what you think you could use them for. It's giving me, it seems like it's coming out at a pretty good time, because I'm looking into possibly getting into Trench Crusade and stuff like that, because it seems very exciting and interesting from everything that I've seen everyone else doing on the internet. So I want to do it myself because it seems fun, and I think that these would be a nice, cool, actually warm palette to work with for those kind of models. But let me know down below, and give it a like if you think this is great, because I really appreciate all that support. As you can tell from the fact that I'm wearing this shirt, and from the beginning of the video there, I am a member of the Army Painters Factory team, which means that I work closely with them. I represent them at tournaments and events and things like that, and they help me as well. But for me to have gotten to a place that they wanted to do that is entirely because of people like you guys, the people who watch my videos, that have been watching it for the last decade, and that support me. So I wanted to make sure when I negotiated my contract there that there was a way for me to give back to you guys. And there is. So if you use the code FactoryGeek5, you can get yourself 5% off of Army Painter products, including these. It's any of the products that they sell on their website, you get a 5% discount on. So if you're looking to pick up these, make sure to use the FactoryGeek5 there and get yourself a 5% discount code. There's also a 10% discount code that you can get and on my Patreon. They wanted to keep that behind the paywall as an extra thanks to the people who more directly support the channel. And I'm very thankful for everyone over there on the Patreon that has supported this channel throughout the years, and that's an extra little thank you there, the 10% off. And honestly, you could probably, for the cost of the Patreon, you can probably save more money with that 10% off than you would be putting into the channel. So that's a way to help me support the channel and also help you guys. So I like the way that works there. So, but thank you guys very much for all the support that you do. I really do appreciate it. Whether you're on Patreon, whether you're just like watching this video, giving me a view, or liking it, it all helps. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. I certainly have. I've been Phil, the Glacial Geek, as always. And until next time, stay safe and have fun.